Pastor Mike, just wanting to share a few beautiful paintings from history, just a few. I want to start with the beautiful The Shadow of Death by Holman Hunt. Do you know have you ever seen the painting by Holman Hunt titled The Shadow of Death? It's a powerful painting. Holman Hunt's The Shadow of Death depicts the inside of the carpenter's shop in Nazareth. Stripped to the waist, Jesus stands by a wooden trestle on which he has put down his saw. He lifts his eyes toward heaven, and the look on his face is one either of pain or ecstasy, or both. He also stretches, raising both arms above his head, and as he does so, the evening sunlight streaming through the open door casts a dark shadow in the form of a cross on the wall behind him, where his tool rack looks like a horizontal bar in which his hands have been crucified. The tools themselves remind us of the fateful hammer and nails. In the left foreground, a woman kneels among the wood chippings, her hands resting on the chest in which the rich gifts of the Magi are kept. We cannot see her face because she has averted it, but we know that she is Mary. She looks startled, or so it seems, at her son's cross-like shadow on the wall. Holman Hunt spent 1870 to 1873 in the Holy Land and painted the shadow of death in Jerusalem as he sat on the roof of his house. From Jesus' youth, indeed even from his birth, the cross cast its shadow ahead of him. His death was central to his mission. Now look at this great work. It's by Sir John Everett Millis. It was done, or it's recorded as 1849. The title is Christ in the House of His Parents. Just look at the detail. Christ, the red-haired boy, is sitting there, just seems like he doesn't have a worry in the world. It's a red-haired boy about 10 years old and a kneeling woman in blue, and they're the focal point of the image. The boy is the young Jesus, who has just injured himself. The young boy leans in to kiss his mother's cheek. His mother furrows her brow and clasps her hands tightly with a mixture of worry and a projection of her future pain, for she knew what was foretold. The painting depicts Mary as a concerned mother and humble wife of Joseph. Mary wears a blue dress and her head is covered by a white cloth. The family is situated in a carpentry wood shop. In the right foreground, John the Baptist, Jesus' cousin, brings a bowl of water to aid his parents in taking care of the young Christ. The bowl of water signifying the later baptism that would take place between John the Baptist and Jesus. In dramatic contrast to the stress emulated from his other family members, Christ's own stance is serene, and he calmly offers his hand to his Father for aid. I believe most of us know this painting from its many different depictions. The title is The Light of the World by William Holman Hunt, again by Mr. Hunt. It was done between 1827 and 1910. The Light of the World, representing the figure of Jesus preparing to knock on an overgrown and long unopened door. It's said to be illustrating Revelations 3:20. The Lord says, "Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come in to him and will sup with him and he with me." According to Hunt, he says, "I painted the picture with what I thought, unworthy though I was, to be a divine command, not simply a good subject. The door in the painting has no handle and can therefore be opened only from the inside, representing the abstentionality shut mind. The painting was considered by many to be the most important and culturally influential rendering of Christ at its time. The painting was depicted as representing man's hardened heart and Jesus knocking at the door of that heart, but man not letting him in. The Light of the World painting had many copies made, many similar depictions made. The painting gave rise to such a popular devotion in the later Victorian period and inspired several musical works, including Arthur Sullivan's 1873 The Light of the World, Horatio. Engraved reproductions were widely hung in nurseries, schools, and church buildings. Now, I have this picture like we see here in my home. It was my mother's, and she moved it from place to place as we moved around. So I know this painting well. Now, as much as I love the painting, The Light of the World, we got to clear something up. Mr. Holman's interpretation that it was the hardened heart of man, it was his interpretation, not biblical. Let's look again at the book of Revelation, chapter 3, verse 20. And the Lord says, Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come into him and will sup with him and he with me. This was in the letter to the church at Laodicea. They had become hardened and they would not allow Christ in. Isn't that what's going on in this world today? We have so many churches. Jesus is standing at the door and knocking, and they don't let him in because they're playing their crazy music, or they've got their own rules or their own interpretations that they're using. So it's a profound painting even today. Oh, how we love the story of Jesus calming the seas, right? This is the famous painting by Rembrandt, dated 1633, The Storm on the Sea of Galilee. You know, on March 18th, 1990, two thieves posing as police officers entered Boston's Stewart Garden Museum pretending to respond to a security threat. The museum staff was tied up and the thieves made away with around $500 million worth of stolen art, the likes of Monet, Degas, and Vermeer. Among them, of course, was Rembrandt's work, and unfortunately, none of these works have ever been recovered. A bit more whimsical in American art was, of course, Edward Hicks' Noah's Ark in 1846, and it kind of embodied his Quaker spirituality and his kind of folk heart sensitivity. This has become quite famous in many books and many children's stories over the many years of the Great Flood. Oh, that beautiful Sermon on the Mount. This painting was done in 1877. Anyone raised in the Christian church is likely to be familiar with the work of Karl Bloch. His artwork has been used in Sunday school classes and children's Bibles for decades. Although he is known for his biblically inspired paintings, he also painted many rural daily life scenes. And unlike many artists, he became famous fairly early in his life. Now, I'm sure we all recognize this, the famous Head of Christ portrait. The Head of Christ, a famous portrait painting of Jesus, popularly known as Solomon Head, was painted by Warner Solomon in 1940. It was the only painting of Jesus that has been reproduced 500 million times for churches and private devotional purposes. Although it was made in charcoal and sold to Covenant Companion to use on their cover, it received a massive amount of fame, and it was made in many, many different mediums and distributed. Millions of people from the 20th century would visualize Jesus this way, and they don't know of any other ways picturing. I hope you've enjoyed just a few moments looking at a few of these beautiful portraits through history. There are just so many out there. I'm sure you have your favorites. I would ask that you please subscribe, like, and support this ministry, and look at some of our channels, and we'd appreciate it. And may God bless you.